Right, and it's a pleasure that we move to our friends from Africa. We have 3 speakers for the next today and tomorrow from Africa. Actually 4 with my colleague from headquarters. First, we have Ms. Muthoni Mugo from Kenya. She's the director of Metropolitan Development of the State Department for Housing and Urban Development of Kenya, with a background in planning and geography. And looking at her CV, that's that perfect experience that starts with land rights for informal settlements 10 years ago. A lot of your work was in that area. And then you moved on to metropolitan service delivery. And now you work at national level with the coordinated preparation for railway services. So the whole span of it, and that's for sure about economic infrastructure and management that you're now dealing with. And we're glad to listen to your perspectives.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, I know I have a cold, but you will, I will beg your pardon that I will talk the most efficient way that I could. Before you is the National Spatial Planning in Kenya. I'm not talking on behalf of His Majesty the King. It's His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya. Next. So I want to talk about Kenya, and you can see what Kenya is. It is a very beautiful country. I think most people who have gone to Kenya, they know that. It is in the eastern part of Africa. And I purposely did not place the map of Africa so that the many delegates that were asking where Kenya is, they will have an assignment to look at the place where Kenya is in the map of Africa. But we are in the African continent and doing very well. You know our athletes. We are very good at athletics. And we are doing in many other areas, we are doing very well. Our white beaches at the coast, they attract international tourists. Our capital city, Nairobi, hosting over 4.4 million night population. Day population is over and above 3 times the number of people that are living within Nairobi city. Now we are governed by a devolved system of government that complicates the way we govern our cities and our urban areas, and you will see that we are trying to work together between national government and the county governments in order to manage our space, our territory, Kenya. Remember, we are not a unit. We are a unitary state. So even if we have 47 county governments, we have one national government that coordinates that which happens at the national level. We move on. We have a National Spatial Plan of Kenya that we prepared, the very first one in 2016. It is a flagship project within our National Development Blueprint that is meant to see socioeconomic transformation of the territory of Kenya and the people of Kenya. And we want to see an organized, integrated, sustainable, and balanced development within the territory. We move on. There is our national spatial structure, and I will not explain the map, but I want to say that on this basis, then we are implementing major national infrastructure that is meant now to gain connectivity and integration of the space of Kenya and affect the very grassroots people that are doing activities on the ground, whether in the rural areas or in the urban setups. We move on. So our infrastructure is well selected because we want to see an element of sustainability in the face of challenging climatic change issues. And that's an example. The wind energy there, the geothermal energy up there. We move on. Next page, please. Next slide. So one of our regional framework that is helping us implement regional development infrastructure is the LAPSET corridor, the Lamu port that goes to southern Sudan, that is meant to see the integration of the economic activities within that, the eastern part of Kenya, the northern eastern part of Kenya that has primarily remained quote unquote backwards and developed. So we want to see that then translates into balanced development within our country. This was one of our flagship projects also within the Vision Kenya Vision 2030. And the projects will open up 3/4 of the country that was there before, not opened up, and therefore will also expand the revenue base of the economy of Kenya, therefore also moving towards enhanced global competitiveness. So we are seeing some of the projects that are already going on. We move to the next slide. The Lamu port under construction. Then we have a railway line, a highway. Then we have pipelines for the crude oil, oil refinery. Those are some of the infrastructures. Resort cities along the LAPSET corridor. Major airports, including upgrading the airport that is already in Lamu. And then we have a metropolis that is just about to come up around Lamu Island. For those people who would want to come to Kenya, we not only have the beach areas, but we have the island, which is also in Lamu, that is also a natural heritage for us. We move on. So we have the port headquarters. It is already completed, a beautiful building. Then we have also electricity that has already been connected to the national grid. Water supply is already within the port. The roads are being constructed and they are at various stages. Some roads are up to 3/4 complete because of government commitment. And then we have impacts already being felt because people are able to access markets within the region. And then also the local people, they are able to participate in investments along the corridor. So we are experiencing direct employment through our construction processes, and then increased tourism because we have accessibility in those areas. And then the communities that used to face a lot of security issues have now started experiencing a stabilization in terms of security. We move on. So we have an integrated transportation network through our national spatial plan. And despite, I think, the other countries that have quoted, there are numerous authorities and agencies that are dealing with our transport system. We have now a national transport network that is integrated, that brings together the agencies so that we achieve sustainability of the development of the transport and other infrastructure projects. So the first agency is the Kenya National Highways Authority, that is in charge of highways, national highways. KURA is for Urban Roads Authority. The KERA is for rural roads. KAA is for the airports. KPA is an agency for development of ports. And KRC, the Kenya Railways Corporation, is in charge of our national railway network. Then we have NAMATA stepping down that comes to deal with our transport issues within Nairobi metropolitan area. And then we have also the LAPSET, Development Authority, as well as the county governments. Those are within the space of the National Transportation Network, and we are coordinating as a nation to find that every one of them gets space, and we work in a coordinated manner. So next slide, please. So you can see our rail infrastructure. If you come to Nairobi, you will be in one of the modern trains that gives you comfort, not what we knew in the colonial times. We also have a standard gauge railway that we are extending from Mombasa to the western part of Kenya. We have also cargo trains that also transport cargo in different parts of the country using the standard gauge railway. We move on. We have Nairobi Expressway. Anyone that has come to Kenya in the recent past, the last 2 years, you will find direct access from our main airport, which is at Jomo Kenyatta in Nairobi, to the city center and beyond. A 16 kilometer, actually more than 16 kilometer road that is on top of other roads within Nairobi, and we are doing very well in terms of accessibility to the airport and other areas of the city. You know the Thika Superhighway. It's one of our major projects that have happened within Nairobi metropolitan area, linking other counties like Kiambu to Nairobi. We move on. Our Mombasa port, the Inland Container Depot, and Kisumu depots are being managed by our Kenya Ports Authority, and we are doing well in terms of distributing cargo within the country. We move on. Our economic activities, I just mentioned a few. Agriculture. Kenya generally is an agricultural country. Most of our rural areas, they depend on agriculture for subsistence and also for export, and we want to develop our agricultural sector to be export-oriented. So the National Spatial Plan has spoken to a national agriculture framework that will see us achieve that. We move on. Our National Spatial Plan declared every part of Kenya as a tourist area. I will tell you why. We discovered that if you do not have natural resources, then human resources are there, and the culture and the landscape is there to get in touch with. So apart from the coastal areas, we have our lake, Nakuru, that has the flamingos. If you've not seen a flamingo, then you'll see many in Lake Nakuru. Then we have also the big five. You can see them grazing in their natural environment. We move on. Then we have also identified potential and emerging growth centers within our national space. And you can see that we have the middle one, the bigger one is Nairobi, which is our national capital. And as I moved, when we went to see the new city, I was imagining that how would we take up the challenge of moving Nairobi to perhaps a more central area, which for us in Kenya is called Isiolo. It is a city that has even an international airport. But really, maybe it's a challenge for us as Kenyans to think of how to perhaps even decongest the city of Nairobi. But we have other strategies. Meanwhile, we move on to the next stage. We have a metropolitan development of Nairobi as a capital city, because we are seeing increasing interdependence of surrounding urban areas and counties with Nairobi, and therefore Nairobi may not continue to enjoy an independent status in terms of dealing with the issues that go with the city-wide development. So as a metropolitan area, we have identified 5 other metropolitan regions in Kenya, and we think that if we apply metropolitan development principles, we will achieve regional balanced development in the country. So, but we have a challenge. We do not have a policy yet that guides delineation and planning and perhaps investments and governance within our metro regions. And perhaps that's what we, maybe I would want to benchmark from the countries that have done a policy so that we can compare notes on how we would, as a country, develop our own policy guidelines. We move on. So those are our 6 metro regions. You can see they are spread out. If we would develop those regions, plus integrate the transportation network and infrastructure that we are developing as a country, then we will see the entire country developed in a balanced manner. We'll move on. So I just want to give a brief of what we have done within Nairobi metro region. We are developing it as a world-class African metropolis. So that's our catchphrase for our Nairobi metropolitan region. We move on. We have the 5 county governments that form Nairobi metropolitan region. A plan has been prepared, which we are currently implementing, and perhaps for now, we need now to review the plan because the plan is 10 years into implementation. We move on. One of the projects that we have successfully planned and which is currently under implementation is the Nairobi Railway City Plan. There is a second, the area is the second CBD, the previous slide. And we have developed this as an iconic intermodal transit-oriented urban development. If I had time, maybe I would have showed you a video of what our vision for the Nairobi Railway City is. But the multimodal hub will accommodate all the commuters within the region of Nairobi, and we have prepared the very first master plan for commuter railway system, which we are implementing, and you'll see it in the following slides. We also have an SGR station at Nairobi terminus that we have planned for that is meant to revitalize that area within Nairobi station for the SGR. We move on. Then a very major urban renewal program for Nairobi, a residential area, mainly of public land, next to the CBD. We have replanted, and we have major housing projects that are happening right now, being implemented by both national and county government. We move on. Then we have also other plans that we have prepared for those areas. There's urban centers and counties within the metro region of Nairobi to help us integrate development within the metro region. We move on. Then also the transport corridor plans that are also helping us to do public transportation systems. We have already had plans for them, and they are under implementation. Move on. Next. Then GIS-based projects, physical addressing, yes, we have done. For georeferenced physical mapping, we have also done GIS-based mass valuation role for Nairobi City County so that we increase own source revenue. We move on. Next slide. Other infrastructure that we have done, we move on. I'll just mention them as we see the pictures. You can see before and after what we have done in terms of market development for the two areas in Ngong and Mwarero is in Nairobi. We move on. Ngong is in Kajiado County. We also have disaster management infrastructure put up for Nairobi County and surrounding counties that form the Metropolitan region. We move on. Also, streets and security lighting is helping us deal with crime issues and helping us also to go into 24-hour economy. We move on. Drainage system, yes. We are doing very well. We have a master plan for the drainage of Nairobi County, and we are moving on to other metro areas. Move on. Then also we have constructed roads, and we have also revitalized the railway, commuter railway stations within the metro region to help us move commuters. Move on. Yes, those are our railway stations, new railway stations, commuter, and that's our new road, and those are our railway stations. Let's move on. Our major road that we have connected Machakos County to Nairobi County, helping us achieve efficient transportation for commuters. We move on. So now, our issue in terms of economic infrastructure is financing. How do we finance? And I think Indonesia is a good example to us. We want to see how you implement your land value capture instrument so that we see how we can do that for ourselves, for our country, for both development, operation, and maintenance. Then we also have a challenge of prioritizing infrastructure so that we also look at the counties that do not have enough infrastructure to achieve regional balancing, and then also coordinating the various infrastructure agencies. Applying the TOD planning principles is a go zone for us as a country, and then also collaborative initiatives to help us come up and manage infrastructure. Last and not least is innovative ways of metropolitan development planning and management. I think that's what I had said there before. And I will not leave here. I know I'm supposed to finish. Next. Before saying that we have a current government initiative that is meant to reach out to the very poor, and we are calling it the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. We are focusing on agriculture, we are focusing on medium and small enterprises, affordable housing, digital and creative economy, and primary health care for all. I rest my case. I know I would have had so much to say, but because of the timeline, my next slide says, my next slide, please, that you welcome to Kenya, to Africa, and that there is, the next slide, there is light even where there is darkness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Mugo. It's always very interesting to see how these concepts of national development take on. I'm sure that you want us to visit the Big Five, but soon also the Big Six, the 6 metropolitan centers of Kenya. Yeah, I take with you that all these issues of integrated development, you have a very large metro region, but seeking to equalize that across the country, the importance of doing all the essential infrastructure investments. And I saw at the end also elements like affordable housing. The basics are there. Somehow you cannot move on, and I think it comes also in a future presentation. You need to do this infrastructure and corridor investments, and then in order to move up and stay in the middle income country territory. But somehow the trap is there if you don't invest in affordable housing. To move out of the trap, affordable housing is essential.